today I'm going to show you how to make an angel food roll cake. We're also going to make strawberry jelly to place in the middle and adding little hearts all over the cake. I previously made a tiger skin pattern cake that only using egg yolks, so making angel food cake is a perfect way to use up the egg whites. We'll start by making the strawberry jelly. Wrap a container with plastic wrap. This will help us to remove the jelly easily later once it's set. Puree the strawberry until smooth. Transfer it to a pot and mix in agar-agar powder. Mix it up. Add the sugar and cook this on medium heat while whisking constantly. Agar-agar powder is an excellent vegetarian alternative to gelatin. It's a stabilizing and thickening agent made from seaweed. You can buy agar-agar powder in any Asian grocery store or buy it online. Once it's come to a boil, let it boil for a couple of minutes, then remove it from the heat. Pour it through a strainer into the container. Skim away the foam on top. My glass container is 8 by 6 inches and the jelly is about 3/4 of an inch thick. Let it cool and set completely in the fridge. It will take a couple of hours. Now let's make the cake. First, mix the oil and flour. First, combining the oil and flour is simple and won't develop gluten. You can stir it any way you want and don't have to sieve the flour neither. Now add the milk and vanilla extract. Stir until all well combined. Take out 25 grams of the batter. Sieve the cocoa powder in and mix well. Cocoa powder will make the batter thicker, which will help the hearts to hold their shapes better during the bake. Add the red food color in. The brown batter will give me a beautiful dark red color without having to add too much food color. But if you don't want to add cocoa powder, it will work too. So the cocoa powder is optional. You can color it as dark or as light as you like. Now let's whip the egg whites. Add cream of tartar to the egg whites and beat on high speed. Cream of tartar can stabilize the meringue. If you don't have it, you can add a small teaspoon of lemon juice or vinegar instead. You can also use a hand mixer for this. Both methods will work just fine. When you see big bubbles forming, add a third of the sugar. Continue to beat on high speed. When the foam becomes finer and silkier, you can add another third of the sugar. Continue to beat on high speed. The foam will continue to get silkier, and the whites will be starting to hold the trail of the whisk. At this point, you can add the remaining sugar and beat on medium-high speed. Continue beating until you see some stiff peaks. After lifting the whisk, the meringue is stable and firm and the peak will not drip. Mix 25 grams of egg whites into the red batter. Fold it in gently until it's all combined. Transfer this to a piping bag and start popping some hearts on a lined baking pan. You can make adjustments to the shapes with a toothpick if needed. Gently tap it a few times. Place this in the preheated oven and bake at 320 degrees for 3 minutes. During this time, don't do anything to the other part of the egg whites just yet. When done, leave this on the counter to cool off slightly. Now back to the remaining egg whites. Give it a quick whisk to smooth it out again, about 30 seconds. Scoop about 1/3 of the egg whites to the batter and fold it in gently. This is to lighten the batter initially and prepare it for the rest of the egg whites. Once it's mixed well, change to a spatula and pour it into the egg whites. Continue to fold gently until it's all combined. The reason we want to do this after the red batter is baked because we want to give that a little bit of time to cool off slightly. If we pour the remaining batter onto a very hot pan that just came out of the oven, it will break too much of the air that will whip into the egg whites. Repeat this movement until the batter is homogeneous. Don't overdo it. Transfer about half of the batter into a piping bag. I start with using a piping bag to pipe the batter around the hearts to make sure the batter reaches the edge of the hearts nicely. You can just pour the batter straight in if you like. Transfer the rest of the batter into the pan. Smooth out the batter. Tap this a couple of times to get rid of the big bubbles. Place this in the preheated oven and bake at 320 degrees for 25 minutes. Once it's out of the oven, slide the cake onto a cooling rack. Place a piece of parchment paper on top immediately. We want the top part to stick to the parchment paper so we can peel it off later. This way the cake will be wider without the top yellowish brown layer. Flip the cake over and let it cool off completely. The strawberry jelly is set. Remove it from the container and cut them using a heart-shaped cutter. If you don't want to make the jelly but still want to have a heart after you slice the cake, you can just use fresh strawberries. Cut a V on each strawberry and line them up in the cake. It will still have a heart effect after you slice the cake. Now that the cake is cool, let's make some whipped cream frosting. Combine the heavy whipping cream and powdered sugar in a chill mixing bowl. Whip on high speed until it thickens. This is good. Now flip the cake over. Cut off the edges. Cut the end of the cake at an angle so it will flush against the cake batter. Apply an even layer of whipped cream frosting on it. Arrange the strawberry jelly on it. You should have more than enough jelly for this cake. If you don't, you can just fill in the empty spot with more cream. Apply some cream all over it to secure them in place. Now we'll start rolling the cake. Once it's all rolled up, while pulling the paper on the bottom, use something flat and give it a little push. This will tighten it up even more and give you a rounder roll. Put the seam side down and place this in the fridge to chill for a couple of hours to set. And this is now completed. Thanks so much for watching.